Welcome to The Know, I'm Brian.
And I'm Gus.
These days, it's pretty common to see new games released with multiple different versions. It's all part of that never-ending quest for developers to just further monetize us until we have nothing left.
Well, just look at Marvel's Spider-Man, which is coming next week for PlayStation 4. You can get the standard edition for $60, which is just the game. But if you pre-order digitally, you get some extra Spidey suits, some skill points, and you can unlock a spider drone gadget early.
That's handy. Then there's the digital deluxe edition for $80. That includes the game and the 3-part City That Never Sleeps DLC that's releasing later this year. Oh, and if you pre-order, you get a SpiderMan pin to wear.
And
fancy.
Yeah, fancy. And finally, we have the $150 collector's edition that has all of that stuff, plus a steel book, an art book, and a white spider sticker, and even a Spider-Man statue.
Stuff for your desk, I guess. So we've seen this stuff over and over with developers saying that they need this extra monetization to help fund rising development costs, and not just because it makes them a lot more money.
And this seems fairly standard. You get the game, or you get the game and the DLC, or you get the game, the DLC, and some physical stuff.
Right, absolutely. Physical rewards.
Right, that's par for the course. But when it comes to Ubisoft's The Division 2, they might be going overboard because it's launching with 6 different versions of the game. From the $60 base version all the way up to $250 Phoenix Shield Collector's Edition. And for all of that money, you'll get early access to the game starting on March 12th, some figurines, and some other extras.
They had like a big checklist of like what it all, what you get. It was overwhelming. And while Ubisoft has said that all of the Division 2's expansions will be free for all players because they don't want to divide them up, it does look like the different versions of the games will let the higher paying customers try them out first.
That's because if you have the Year 1 pass, you'll get access to some parts of the expansions a week early.
So everyone will get to play the expansions, but some will get them a little sooner than others, and now people are confused. What parts will they get to play? What won't they get to play? It's a whole mess.
And there's also an issue of inventory, which in the Division games is referred to as stash space. And it turns out that if you buy one of the 3 most expensive versions of the game, you'll get more stash space than your poorer brethren.
Just like in real life. Of course, in games like this, inventory space, it's at a premium because you'll probably have different loadouts depending on the scenario, so you'll need lots of space to stash your gear.
Which Ubisoft, of course, knows, and that's why they're making you pay for it.
So, all of this has set off a ton of confusion among fans, like, will higher paying players get to do multiplayer early and build up their characters quicker, and exactly how much more stash space will they be getting than just the people who got the base game?
And a few days ago, the developers tried to clear this up in a State of the Game stream on Twitch. It was specifically aimed at addressing the confusion around pre-orders, which frankly is confusion that they created themselves.
So they discussed stash space and acknowledged that there's been a lot of conversation about it.
They wouldn't talk about how much more additional stash space you get, but Division 2 community developer Yannick Banchero said, "We know that storage is a very big thing, so we want to make sure that stash size is going to be much more comfortable in the Division 2.
He went on to say that the expanded stash size is just a bonus for the people who really want to hoard and collect everything. And he added, "We are not looking at diminishing the amount of stash size available just to push people into buying a more expensive version."
But while he was saying this, the Twitch chat was not having it. One user wrote, "I'm sorry, this is just BS." Another added, "So why pre-order when you don't know exactly what extra stash you will be getting? Come on guys, get your act together."
Yes. As for the early access that some players will be getting, Banchero said those players will be getting a sneak peek at the stories in the expansions, not new multiplayer modes or raids.
He added, "We want the early access to be about the people that really cannot wait to find out about the new stories so they can get to dive into it right away."
Yeah, he said it's not supposed to be a way for people to build up their characters before anyone else. He added that competitive raids won't be part of early access, and that when they release a new raid, they want everyone to be a part of it.
Again, Twitch chat was not amused.
No.
One person said, "So let people play the new DLC and show everyone the DLC, but don't get any gear from it. Sick." I think they may have been sarcastic with that sick at the end.
I think so. This wasn't sarcastic. They wrote, "So early access is pointless."
Ouch. Definitely seems like Ubisoft is trying to walk a line here between giving goodies to the players who give them more money, but not giving them too much so that the rest of the player base gets pissed off and starts yelling about the game becoming pay to win.
Yeah, they're trying to monetize as much as possible while trying to keep the game's player base together by making all the expansions free.
But all of the different versions is a risky concept. Just ask Evolve. Oh man, right, I forgot about that. That game released in 2015 with a bunch of different versions ranging from $60 to $100, and then there was even more DLC available on top of that.
I looked it up. It launched with $136 worth of DLC available, mostly in the form of new monsters and hunters, but that was in addition to the $60 base game.
Sick.
Yes.
Gamers were furious at what they considered to be predatory DLC in the game tanked, even though Evolve's developers insisted that all the DLC maps would be free to keep the players together.
That sounds familiar.
I think we've heard that, yeah. Evolve became free to play a little more than a year later, but that didn't help either. Its servers are scheduled to be shut down in just a few days.
RIP. So there's always the risk of coming off as being too money grubbing, and if that happens, get ready for a gamer revolt. So hopefully Division 2 can avoid that fate, but it's clear that all the different versions of the game are at best confusing fans, and at worst, pissing them off.
Sick. What do you guys think of all the different versions of the Division 2? Could it end up alienating gamers? Let us know in the comments.
And for all your Division 2 news, be sure to like this video. If you're new around here, subscribe to the know. Sick.
Sick. I like it.
Nice callback.
Great.
All right. We in focus? We're all good?
Yep.
Awesome.
That's a good clap. Not
Thank you.
too loud,
Yeah,
but that's still solid. Yeah.
The right amount of cup. Welcome to the know. Oh, wait.